Hello, this is a Narayan water level controller with cyclic timer for single phase submersible pumps model WLC20. So this is a all in all comprehensive unit which has water level controller along with the cyclic timer. So this can be used for any single phase borewell motors from 1 HP to 5 HP. So, and this product is compatible with pretty much all the starters available, and the connections are pretty simple. So before that, let us first understand what exactly this product is used for. So as you all know, a basic water level controller works this way. So whenever the water in the overhead tank gets empty, that's when the motor switches on. So the tank fills up and then motor switches off. This is the basic application of a water level controller. But nowadays there is some common feature due to the depleting groundwater table. So whenever the motor is on, the motor can pump out water only for maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes, after which the motor will run dry. So once this happens, then you will have to manually turn off the motor and wait for certain time, which we call as recharge time. So after the time is up, then there is certain amount of water that is collected, and again when the motor is switched on, subsequently the motor can pump the water for the next 20 or 30 minutes again, and the cycle will keep on repeating. So what people usually do is they manually turn on the motor, and after the motor runs dry, it's immediately switched off, and then they'll wait for a certain recharge time. So this is how the common scenario is now taking place. But in that case, if the normal water level controller is used, what happens is it will start the motor and it will continue to run the motor till the tank is full. Suppose the tank filling will take around 45 minutes, let us assume, and the motor can pump water only for 20 minutes. In that case, there are chances of motor running dry, and which will result in motor getting burnt. This condition is called as dry running. So in order to avoid this scenario, we have come up with this new product which has water level as well as a cyclic timer built in. So this will indicate the water levels in the overhead tank, and it also has a cyclic timer. So what exactly a cyclic timer is it is basically an on and off timer. So if you know that your motor can pump water for 30 minutes, you can set the running time as 30 minutes, and the recharge time, let us assume, is for 2 hours. So you can set the off time to be 2 hours. So in that scenario, the motor will run for 30 minutes and it will switch off after that time. Then it will wait for the next 2 hours, that is the off time. So once the off time is complete, it will again switch to the on cycle. So this cycle will keep on repeating, which we call as cyclic timer. So this is a combination of water level and the cyclic timer. So meaning the cyclic timer will get activated only when the tank gets empty, or we've usually set that mark to below 75% mark. Whenever water comes below the 75% mark, the timer will get activated and it will start operating based on the set on and off time. The on and off time can be set by the user. Okay, this is a 3-digit timer, so the on time can be set to 3 digits, all in minutes. So that is from 1 minute to 999 minutes of running time. Similarly, the waiting time or the off time, again from 1 minute to 999 minutes. Both can be user programmable. Okay. So once the water level comes down, the timer kicks on and it starts to operate based on the set timings till the tank fills up. So once the tank fills up, immediately the timer switches off. It will enter the off cycle, and it will wait for the tank to come, the water level in the tank to come to below 75% mark, to turn on the motor again. So I hope the explanation was clear. We'll quickly have a look at, we'll definitely have a look at the operations by powering up the system. So before that, we will look at the connections. So as you can see, we have these water level indications, 4 level for the tank indication, and we have the flow indicators. It also indicates the on time and off time on the digital display. The setting buttons are provided right below the display. We have this need or reset button, which is used to manually turn on the motor just in case there is an immediate requirement of water. So this also offers an additional protection called whenever the motor turns on, and so let us assume you've set the on time to be 30 minutes, and for some reason the motor runs dry after 20 minutes. So in that case, when the water doesn't come out of this inlet, so we will place a sensor here called dry run sensor. Whenever the water doesn't hit this dry run sensor, we can the motor will switch off within a set time. Again, that time can be set by the user. So that is an additional precaution which we have given for this timer. And then when you can just have a look at the bottom, these are the connections to be made. So in order to show you the connections, we will be making use of an Narain analog control starter model SPRG. This is the analog meters and the basic analog starter. So this product, more or less, if you can have a look at the connections to be made to this particular product, the connections are more or less same with all these starters available in the market. Okay. So then, quickly going through the connections. The first two, there are two sets of connectors. The first connector is the thicker connectors, which we call power connectors, and the second set is the sensor connectors, which are thinner in size. Okay. So the power connectors, the first two connectors are connector 1 and 2. You'll have to give the supply voltage of 220 volts. So this supply should be in addition to the supply given to the starter. So what happens is, this is how the starter usually looks. If you can just look inside. So these are the incoming phase and neutral connections, and these are the motor cables. So phase and neutral for the starter would be given separately, and the water level should take in another set of connection. So it'll have an independent power supply. So we should not take the power supply through the water level controller. Rather, what we should do is, it's a separate power supply to the starter and a separate power supply to the water level controller. Okay. After that, 3 and 4 should be connected in parallel with the on push button. So if you can have a look at the on push button or the start push button. So for all the single phase submersible pumps, you will have the two elements behind the on button. So this is the first element and this is the second element. Usually it can be vice versa. So we call one element as, let us assume this is the first element and this is the second element. So one is in black in color and the other is green in color. It can be of any colors again based on the make. So we'll just have to differentiate between the elements. So 3 and 4 will go in parallel to one element, any one element. It doesn't matter even if these wires interchange. So 3 and 4 should always go to one particular element. So we have taken black wires, so connecting 3 here and 4 here. Okay, parallel to one of the element of the start push button. Similarly, 5 and 6 wires should go parallel to the second element of the start push button. We have taken green color wires and we've used to the same the other element of the start push button. So we've connected green wires to the green element of the start push button. So one goes here and one goes here. So yeah, it's now clear. Okay, right. And then after that, we are left with connectors 7 and 8. So connectors 7 and 8 should go in series with the stop push button. So let us now see how to make that series connection. We've used one black wire and one red wire to make that series connection. So so right behind the stop push button, so this is how you will make the series connection. So whichever wire is coming into the stop push button, you will have to take out that wire. So wire has to be taken out from this point and should be connected to one of the connectors, either 7 or 8. So what we've done is, we've taken out the wire. This is the wire which was, this wire was coming to this particular point. We've taken out the wire and joined to the wire coming from the connector number 8. So the red color wire, this is coming from connector number 8. We have taken a new wire from connector number 7, that is black in color, and connecting it back to the same point. Okay, I will repeat again. Wire which is connected here should be taken out and connected to connector number 7. Then a new wire should come from connector number 8 and which will be connected back to the same point where you had taken out the earlier wire. Okay, this is the series connection. After this is done, we are only left with the sensor connections. So you can quickly have a look. So common, sump low, sump medium, sump high, tank low, tank medium, tank high, and dry run. These are all the sensor connections. Since this is used to the bore well pumps, so you need not connect the sump connection. So what you will do is, rather you will just short common, sump low, sump medium, sump high. All these 4 connectors will be shorted amongst each other, just to just for the water level to indicate that the sump always has water or the bore well always has water. Then the package will have 2 sets of sensors. So this is how the sensors look. This one we call as bullet sensor, and this is the dry run sensor. You will have 4 of these bullet sensors and 1 of the dry run sensor included. So this is how the bullet sensor should be placed. So we'll have to take the first sensor, which will be connected to common point, and the first sensor should always be placed at the bottommost point of the tank. Okay, this is the bottommost point of the tank where you will place the first sensor. Then the second sensor should be connected at a slightly higher point, maybe 50%, and that should be connected to tank low. Okay, and then you will take another the sensor connected to around 75% mark and connected to tank medium, and then the last connector, which is tank full, the last sensor. The last sensor should be placed in such a manner that whenever water hits this sensor, then the motor turns off. That is the tank full sensor. So this will be connected to tank high point. Then we are just left with the dry run sensors. This is how the dry run sensor looks. So dry run sensor should always be placed at the inlet, so wherever water falls inside the tank. So this is the point the dry run sensor should be placed. Let us assume this is the inlet, my finger is the inlet, so this dry run sensor will just sit on the inlet like this. So it should be tightly the dry run sensor should be tightly placed on the inlet and tagged along using a wire or any other medium. So you will see these two screws which are connected, which are there on the dry run sensor. These screws can be bent. So this position should be such that the water which is coming out of the inlet should touch both these screws and then fall into the tank. So by doing this, we are just like these wires will go back to the controller, which will indicate that the water is sensed. Okay. So the dry run sensor, as I mentioned, will have two wires. So one wire will go to the common again, and the last wire, the other wire will go to the last connector, which is a dry run. So you can just have a look at the connector as well. The last connector will read dry run, and this is the one. Okay. So so totally there will be 5 wires which are connected on top. A 5-core wire, you should draw a 5-core wire to the tank. So one is common, tank low, tank medium, tank high, then one of the dry run wires. The common, you can use the same common wire which has already come and connected to the common. I hope the sensor connections are clear. So after this, we will quickly have a look at the operation. So this, as I mentioned, this particular water level controller is suitable from 1 HP to 5 HP single phase borewell pumps. It has a built-in contactor and the start capacitor will be engaged for 3 seconds interval when the motor is on, and after 3 seconds it will be released. So now we'll just power up the system. So whenever you don't wish to use the system, you can always power it off and use the starter manually. So when the system is powered off, you can use the starter manually, just like the basic starter. Whenever you want the system, you can power up the system using the switch. So as soon as you turn on the switch, you have the power on delay. We usually set the power on delay to be around 10 seconds. So this is the countdown. As soon as the power is up, this will just wait for 10 seconds interval just to allow the voltage imbalances to settle down initially. So once that is done, we'll quickly have a look. These are the this will always be on because we've shorted the borewell connections, and these are the tank indications. So this will indicate the water levels in the tank based on the sensor positions. Okay, and this is the display which will always read out the timings. So there is this numbering which will indicate the down count or the leftover time, and this is the off and on indication which will indicate the current cycle, which current cycle the water level controller is right now in. So this says off, which means the controller now is in off cycle, and 001 is 1 minute is left to the controller to switch to the on cycle. Okay, so yeah, let us quickly have a look at the time settings. As I mentioned earlier, on time is the time for which you want the motor to run, or the on time is the time for which you want the motor to run, and off time is the time for which you want the motor to wait, or the waiting time. So if you set the on time to be 30 minutes, the motor will run for 30 minutes and then it will stop. If you say after you set the off time to 1 hour, after running for 30 minutes, the motor will wait for 1 hour, and again after the off time is complete, the cycle will switch to the on cycle. So this is the cyclic timer. So in order to set the on time, you will make use of the buttons right below the display. Pressing the set button once will enter the setting mode. You can see that ONT, that is the on time indication. This is the on time setting. In order to increase the time, we'll press the right button on the right hand side. In order to decrease the time, you will press the button on the left hand side. This will always be in minutes, so maximum on time is 999 minutes. If you want the on time to be 10, you will set it as 10 minutes. After the on time is set, you will again press the set button. It says OFT. OFT is the off time setting. So if you want the off time to be 30 minutes, so you will just increase the time till it reaches 30, and then so after it reaches 30, to decrease you will make use of the other button. After it reaches 30, you will press the button again which says end. So on time is 10 minutes, off time is 30 minutes. So this indicates that the motor will run for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes the motor will wait for 30 minutes. So this is the meaning of on time to be 10 and off time 30. So whenever you have a look at the display, this is how you will have to read it. So the display reads 29 and there is the light at the off cycle indication. That means the timer is currently in off cycle and we have 29 minutes more to go for the timer to switch to the on cycle. So this will be the down counter always. Similarly, when it is in on cycle, the down count will apply there also. So we've set the water level mark to the motor on mark to 75%. So whenever water comes below the 75% mark, that is when the timer kicks in. So after this 28 minutes is elapsed, the timer will check for the water level. If the water level is still at 75% mark, it will not turn on the motor. When the water level comes below the 75% mark after this time is over, it will immediately enter the on cycle and switch on the motor. So the motor after switching on will run for the set on interval. So we've set it to be 10 minutes. So motor will turn on to 10 minutes. It will remain on for 10 minutes and after 10 minutes is up, it will again enter the off cycle. So the cycle will keep on going till the tank fills up. So once the overhead tank fills up, that is the water hits the high level sensor mark, then immediately sensor will switch to the off cycle. I hope I'm clear. So for demo purpose, we'll just set the on time to be around 1 minute and off time again to be of 1 minute. So off time will be set to 1 minute again, just for the demo purposes. Yeah. So now currently let us say the water level is below 75% mark. Right now the cycle is in off cycle. So after the elapsed time is over, so after this there is this 1 minute of time which the controller has to pass. After this 1 minute time, the timer will enter the on cycle. Since the water is below the 75%, the motor switches on and it will continue to operate in the cyclic mode till the water fills up the overhead tank. So whenever in off cycle, if you wish to forcefully turn on the motor, to force start the timer, you can make use of this need button. So pressing this need button when the timer is in off mode will immediately switch on the motor, and the timer again will hold good once the motor switches on. Okay, so now we will just have to wait for another 20 or 25 seconds so that the motor switches on. So we'll just see how the motor switches on and how long the contactor engages. Yeah, the motor just switched on. So the contactor is engaged for 3 seconds and then it will release. So the contactor released. So that is the touch capacitor which gets released. So after that you will see the water indicators coming up. This indicator will light up once the water hits the dry run sensor. So as I mentioned, the whenever water hits the screws on the dry run sensor, the flow indicators will get activated and it will start pumping the water into the overhead tank. So this is the real-time indication for you. So whenever the tank starts to fill up, you will see these indicators glowing, and so the timer is in on mode. So after 1 minute it will enter the off mode again. So as I mentioned earlier, so after this 1 minute is over, it will enter the off mode and the cycle will keep on repeating. Suppose if the tank fills up in between, so now the tank filled up, immediately it will enter the off cycle. So the motor switched off immediately because the tank filled up when in on cycle, and it will enter the respective off cycle. So you can see that switching of cycles here, this LED display. So this is how the this particular unit functions. I hope I am clear with the concept, and just in case if you have any further queries, you can always reach us on 99722 I repeat, it's 99722 You can also browse our website for more information. Our website address is www.narenelectrics.in. Thanks for watching this video.